Let's do a video where I actually talk about something. This is a list of recommendations of media that I would like you to consume because it's really good. If you want to, no pressure. And everyone has time to watch stuff and play stuff and read stuff now. So here's a list, starting with number one, which I'm just adding right now. The thing that everyone's playing is Animal Crossing. If you're not playing it, what are you doing? It's a great game. I've loved this series since the GameCube version, which is the first English version of the game, and it's so good and nice and wholesome. If you have a Switch, you should get it. You should get on that because it's very, very nice. Let's talk about some other ones real quick. Here's a book, Pieces Every Step by Thich Nhat Hanh. This is, I got really into Thich Nhat Hanh 1 or 2 years ago. I might have mentioned it on the vlog before. This guy is a Buddhist monk, and he was an activist during the Vietnam War, and just really great, nice, short reads. Pieces Every Step is my favorite book from him, but I've also read Being Peace and one more that I forget the name of right now. But Pieces Every Step was my favorite. The Art of Mindfulness is the other one that I read from him that would also be a good one to start with. But Thich Nhat Hanh, great author, Pieces Every Step. Next, Dungeons and Dragons. Just general recommendation to do Dungeons and Dragons. Just give it a try. Lots of people are using online systems like Roll20, or you can just like do a voice chat with your friends and play it. There is a free PDF little packet that you can get for $0 that just has all the rules that you need to get started. Check it out if you've been meaning to. This could be your chance to do it. And some people are running one-shots. I'm interested in running a one-shot, so if you want to try your hand at D&D, let me know. This is going to be a long video. We're already at 3 minutes, but hey, I can make these whatever I want. Next, let's talk about YouTube. Let's talk about ContraPoints. Let's talk about ContraPoints makes excellent videos that are super insightful and very long. And it's the sort of video that you might not have time for usually because it is half an hour to an hour in length. But very well done, very insightful, high production value. She is amazing. Let's stick on the YouTube. We got another YouTube recommendation. I stumbled across this corner of YouTube that has a bunch of people with dissociative identity disorder, and they're making video blogs, educational content, or just vlog content about their own life, about having dissociative identity disorder, which I guess, real quick primer, you might think of it, you might have heard of this as being schizophrenia, but it's not. Schizophrenia is a completely different thing. Dissociative identity disorder is when you go through a traumatic event when you're really young, and so to protect yourself, the brain sort of sections off part of your brain, and one part develops into one identity, and another part will develop into another identity or personality, and you can have many of these different personalities, and sometimes those personalities can come forward, and the other personalities can not know what's going on. There's an amnesic barrier that sometimes happens, and so you can maybe wake up basically and not know how you got there. And then so people talk about those moments of discovering when they had it, and then sort of the process of living with it and getting like acquainted with like how to live with this condition, eventually learning how to how all the different parts communicate, with each other, and then how to break down those amnesic barriers so that you can like live more easily. It's really interesting stuff, really cool. Multiplicity and Me is the channel that I first found. And then I also watched Team Pinata, Dissocia Did with a DID at the end. And then the Entropy System. So those are the ones that I watch. It's really interesting. It can be a little bit tough to get into from an outsider's perspective because it's such a different way of living from someone who doesn't have DID, and it can be difficult to understand at first. But it's really cool to see people sort of connecting with each other and putting out educational content. All right, that's all I'm going to say about that. Oh my gosh, let's talk about podcasts, yo. Let's talk about top two dogs forever in my heart will be Radiolab and This American Life, and they continue to put out great stuff. Other podcasts that I've been getting into, The Anthropocene Reviewed is a podcast that John Green makes, and it's amazing. It's really, really good. John and Hank Green. Oh, I didn't mention the Vlogbrothers during that little YouTube section, did I? The Vlogbrothers, I've been following them for over a decade now, and they're still great, and I still look up to them very much. So Anthropocene Reviewed, great podcast, great content. 99% Invisible, always really interesting, cool stuff. And then if you are looking for more of a laid back sort of situation rather than pre-produced content, then if you can listen to basically anything that the McElroy brothers make, which I don't listen to a lot of, but you've also got stuff like Dear Hank and John, which is another just like answering questions, being chill, doing what you want to do. What else have I got on this list? The Adventure Zone. Speaking of the McElroy brothers, that's another podcast. It's a Dungeons and Dragons podcast, so now we're like mixing genres here. But that's the sort of thing that you can just binge listen to. You can just listen to all of that first arc balance and be happy. It's so good. What else we got? Let's talk about more video games, huh? If you haven't played Undertale yet, play Undertale. If you haven't played Untitled Goose Game yet, play Untitled Goose Game. If you haven't played Breath of the Wild, Zelda, I know I'm like listing all the stuff that's like the obvious go-to. These games are really good, but like play all of the really good games because they're really good. There's a reason why lots of people like them, and you'll probably like them too if you're into that sort of thing. Let's go back to old school stuff. Star Trek. Star Trek is good, and it will continue to be good. Not the original series. That will continue to be not as good, in my opinion. Watch Next Generation. I'm watching DS9 right now. It's also very good. I'm watching it for the first time, and it's a different sort of thing, but I'm digging it for different reasons. Avatar: The Last Airbender. Really good. If you haven't watched it, watch it. If you have watched it, consider rewatching it. I only listed like one book. Let's talk about more books. I read some books in January because I got this app on my phone called Libby, and you can just put in your library number, and then you can read books on your phone without having to go anywhere or carry a book around with you. So I read Behind the Beautiful Forevers. That's a pretty depressing book, so you kind of have to be ready for it. All the Light We Cannot See, which takes place during World War II, so also kind of heavy, also kind of something you need to be ready for, but also very, very good. I listened to that one, and it was a really, like, the person who read it did a really, really good job. So there are a couple book recommendations for you. I think that's going to be the end of it. What else do I have on this list? Oh, Bill Wurtz. Bill, W-U-R-T-Z. This guy makes music and music videos, and stuff. And he's very good. And he has a website called billwirtz.com. And that's a website that's worth exploring. I think I've said that last year around this time, but I'm going to say it again in case you didn't take my advice before. Oh, that's gonna be it for today. This is a long one, but maybe I gave you some things to do during this time. I hope everyone is doing okay. Um, Hang in there and have a good one. Bye.